Hey everybody, welcome to Block Chord Basics. My name is Adam Manis. So happy to be here with you today. So happy to get to work on these great voicing systems. Before we get going and before we dive into our locked hand voicings, I just want to explain what's about to happen and how we've broken this course up. So we're going to be dealing with two completely different voicing systems. They're similar. They come from kind of the same base, but they are completely different in how they sound and how they're formed, how they function. So the first is called locked hands. This is also called shearing style. This is also generally called block chord sometimes. This is an octave-based system. There's 5 notes for every chord. It sounds like this. Then we're going to do drop 2 style voicings. Now that's a 4-note voicing. Again, it's kind of structured from a similar parent, if you will, but it has a completely different sound. It's a tenths base. So the locked hands is based on octaves, right, where the outside notes are octaves. Drop 2 is based in tenths, where the outside notes are tenths. Like you can tell, just completely different vibe, right? Both, here's locked hands, both have a really cool sound. Both we're able to use to play melodically with chords and to play melodies, which brings me to my next point. That's how we're going to be working on these. I'm going to lay out some very simple scales, 5 scales for each different structure of voicing, 5 for locked hands, 5 for drop 2. Just the basic scales that you'll need to know and how to build chords for any situation. But really the work is going to be done in the tunes. I've picked 6 great jazz standards, great American Songbook standards and jazz standards, jam session tunes. I'm talking Autumn Leaves, On Green Dolphin Street, There Is No Greater Love, Fly Me to the Moon, Blue Bossa, and All the Things You Are. We're going to be working both of these through all 6 of those tunes. And by the end of this, we're going to have chord arrangements of the melodies for all 6 of the tunes with both structures. It's going to be awesome. We're going to learn how to build these voicings, but more importantly, we're actually going to play them right away in tunes that we know or that we should know, right? So that's how this is going to work. One more thing about both of these voicings. We want to learn first about the parent of both of these voicings. If you've looked up drop 2 or locked hands at all in the past, you probably discovered this term 4-way close. It's a crucial way for developing both of these voicings. And I'll just explain it really quickly before we get going in our locked hands practice. 4-way close is a 4-note voicing where we just essentially make a block chord. So if we have a C major 6, we'll put the C on top. Right, we have all of the notes of a C6 chord. We have C, E, and G, right? That's just the triad in a first inversion. And then we add the 6, the A. So this is 4-way close. From the bottom up, E, G, A, and C. Right, so here's our starting point for both locked hands and drop 2. For locked hands, we simply take our left hand and double the melody an octave below. Double the top note an octave below. So we have an octave. That's how we make locked hands voicings, right? We start with 4-way close, no matter what the 4-way close is, and we just take the top note and we add it to the bottom. So a 4-note voicing becomes a 5-note voicing. For drop 2, we take the 4-way close and we take the second note from the top, in this case the A, we remove it from the 4-way close and we drop it down an octave. So it remains a 4-note voicing. We take that second voice from the top and we just move it down an octave. That's the basics. That is the difference between the two. That's really one of the only differences between the two. I think you're going to find that once we get into arranging these standards with these 2 different voicings, like the scales we use, the notes we use are very, very similar. Very, very similarly structured. It's just the different shapes and getting them in our hands and putting the work in. But the cool thing is once you kind of understand clearly that difference, that locked hands is a 5-note octaves, right? And drop 2 is a 4-note where we take that 4-way close voicing and the second voice on the top, we just move it down an octave, still with 4 there. Once you kind of click into that, they're so easy. And you can go in between locked hands and drop 2 kind of at will. and they become sort of cousins, right, in our voicing arsenal. So that's that. That's where I wanted to start. Join me for our next lesson. We're going to dive in straight away to our locked hands voicing. Play with me. We can do this whole thing because it's pretty short. We're just going to loop it a bunch of times. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. E flat minor 7. D flat major 6 diminished, and now how cool. Let's do it again. One more time, one more time. Yeesh. Isn't that nice?